Hello again. Well, I'm going to do a beer review. It's a beer I've never had or heard of. Sadly, a few of you know that my dog died suddenly a month ago. And I love my dog. He was more than a pet. He was my best friend. And he suddenly died. It happens. Well, a friend of mine came over to console me. And she left me with a couple of beers. She said maybe you could do a beer review on this. So, thank you, Mariah. I'm going to do a beer review on this. Give people credit where it's due. So what we have here is Big Ditch Brewing Company. They're Make Me Want a Stout beer. Coffee and Cream Stout. Big Ditch Brewing Company, Make Me Want a Stout. Coffee and Cream Stout. Okay, and the can has some kind of cheesy. Got like a truck, pickup truck on it, and a couple of coolers with some beer in it, and a table with some, looks like somebody's going to play some beer pong or something. I've never had a coffee stout, let alone this coffee stout. Now I'll tell you, Big Ditch Brewing Company is located in Buffalo, New York. They haven't been around too long. It's kind of they've got a pretty impressive size brewery, tanks in it, and looks like they also serve food, and it's a brew pub. It's a brew pub, restaurant, brewery in Buffalo, New York. It's been around, I think, since 2014. So, Big Ditch Brewing Company, kind of a new brewery. And what's to be said about this? I'll tell you what they say on their website. It's not a lot, so bear with me. Give you the info on this. Coffee Stout. Never had it. Granted, I like coffee, and I like stout, so this may be a hit. We brewed this beer specifically for football Sundays in Western New York. This coffee and cream stout is brewed with Revolution coffee beans from Public Espresso. Besides the rich coffee flavor, this beer features a light roast from the roasted barley used, a light sweet finish from the milk sugar, and a creamy body from the oatmeal used. Let's go Buffalo. Buffalo Bills. I'm not really a football fan, but there are a lot of diehard Buffalo Bill fans in upstate New York, especially around Buffalo. They tell you what they use here. They use two-row Munich. They use two-row barley, that is. Two-row barley would be the staple beer in any ale or stout. Then they use some Munich and roasted barley, chocolate, and milk sugar. However, they said above it, they said they used oatmeal, and they don't include that below, so they must have been drinking some of their own stout when they made this. Hops, they use an old hops Northern brewer that's been around for a while. This beer weighs in at 5.2% alcohol by volume. And I will tell you what I think of it. In this flower vase, this beer mug that was rescued from being a flower vase. I've got it on eBay. It smells kind of like chocolate. It's not really knocking me over with a lot of aroma. I'm smelling chocolate, but not real strong. All right, let's do the pour. I keep forgetting. Pour's pretty dark, and this beer is very cold. It was in my fridge, and I threw it in the freezer for about 30 minutes, maybe more. Not an impressive head on it. And there should be one with a glass shaped like this. But then again, this is a very cold beer. And as I've said, the colder the brew, the more apt it's going to retain the CO2 will stay in it. Same thing like if you've got soda pop or beer in your car and it gets warm and you open up a warm beer, all the CO2 rushes right out, you know, whether it be any carbonated beverage. But if you get the beer really cold, it keeps the CO2 in it. So this is very cold. Not a lot of smell to it. Not to me, and I'm not stuffed up. I should be smelling it. Not much of a head. If I smell anything, it smells like chocolate, honestly. The color? Oh, let's see here. How dark is this beer? It's very dark. I should be able to see through it. I don't see through it at all. So this is an exceptionally black beer. Honestly, this has got to be one of the darkest beers I've ever encountered. That could be a good thing, honestly. It's kind of unique. So very dark beer. I can't see the light through this at all. And this is a rather thin glass. So this beer is virtually black. It's very dark brown. All right, here we go. I taste chocolate. Kind of sour. Chocolate. Not getting a lot of CO2. Not a lot of carbonation. Goes down pretty easy. It tastes like chocolate. And it's bitter. Like bitter chocolate. Like, think of buying a cocoa bar, you know, that's like 95% cocoa, dark cocoa. Think of that when you think of chocolate. I'm not talking chocolate like a Hershey bar. No, it's like an unsweetened cocoa bar. I don't taste any sweetness at all in this. Not altogether bad. It's not bad at all, really. Not a lot of character to it, honestly. That may be helping it. I've just about gone flat in my glass by now. That takes a few points off. This should not have gone flat. Very little carbonation in this. And a stout wouldn't have a lot of carbonation, but it should have something still going on. This does not. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. I don't taste any coffee at all in it. And they said they put espresso coffee beans in it, which I'm not sure. I've never had that before until now. So if this is espresso coffee beans and coffee, I don't think, or in beer, it's got a kind of a sour taste, like dark chocolate, unsweetened, with 90% cocoa or so. That's what it reminds me of. A little bit of a sour finish. I wouldn't even call it bitter. They're a new brewery. I commend them for trying something new. Stouts are my favorite. Imperial Stout's probably my favorite. This is not Imperial, but Guinness Stout, all that. I love stouts and porters, dark ales. And I like dark lagers too. This one, hey, at least they tried it. I can't say right now that I highly recommend this. It goes down easy. And these beers do. This one's actually starting to taste a little better halfway through. If it had some carbonation to it, you can see there's no lacing, none. This is flat as it gets. And I washed this glass out thoroughly because even the slightest hint of soap, like, you know, dish soap, the slightest hint of it will completely kill the head on a beer. So I'm very careful in these beer reviews to make sure the glasses are sparkling clean. Big Ditch Brewing. I read up on their website and they said the Big Ditch has to do with the Erie Canal, which runs through upstate New York and not far from here. Runs zigzags through central New York, you know, right on through to western New York. And it was the Erie Canal from like 1820, I think. That was a big deal in New York State. It really upped the commerce and economy in New York State, 1820 to about 1845, and that was replaced real quick by railroads. And then the railroads would be around for 75, 80 years, and then trucks and highways took their place, and who knows what's coming next. So Big Ditch is they're referring to the Erie Canal. Apparently they call it the Big Ditch. I think it's local. They refer to it as Big Ditch, and really that's what it is. Very big ditch. Flat as it can be. Honestly, this beer should not be this flat. At this point, I mean, it's not good. There's not a lot of character to it, which saves it because it's not what character is to this. Personally, I don't like. I don't really taste a stout at all. It tastes like I'm drinking flat chocolate milk unsweetened. That's what it tastes like. I'm going to finish this beer so I can finish this beer review. I mean, it drinks easy enough. Fairly mild, low on alcohol, which helps it. Ugh. I can't really recommend this beer, sadly, because I like to support our local breweries. Buffalo's a pretty good clip from where I live, but they're upstate New York. I think that's about all I have to say about this beer. Ugh. Hope they didn't just dump it all right in that Big Ditch. All right, take care.